somehow we went from 70 and sunny to this. It's like 30 degrees, windy, and snow flurries. Great. And that hasn't really been great for my horses. It's May. So not only has the weather been changing very drastically, but also as we get closer to summer, the days are just getting so much busier because the days are longer and there's just so much more to do and horses to bring back into work that have had the winter off or been in lighter work. So it's already been really busy as it is around here. And then on top of that, I think the weather has really been affecting some of our horses, and it just felt like there was a black cloud over the barn this week. So the days have already been longer and busier. And then on top of that, this week, the weather has been fluctuating from 70 to sunny to 30, freezing rain, snow, and every day this week, something bad happened. So my week started off with a nice, warm, sunny day. It was actually lovely on Tuesday. I had a jump lesson scheduled, and this guy here, Chili, who's one of our boarders horses, he is a draft cross, decided to colic right around dinner time. He laid down in his stall, and I thought that was pretty strange. He's not one to typically want to lay down, so I was already kind of concerned. Hi. He didn't want to roll around or anything, but he stopped eating his hay, and I could tell he was pretty uncomfortable. So luckily he did have some good gut noise, and he was passing gas. And I just started walking him, and I texted his mom to see how she wanted to proceed. So his mom didn't want to call the vet right away. She gave me the okay to give him some Banamine if I felt that he continued to stay uncomfortable. Pretty quickly after that, he wanted to lay down and not walk, so I gave him Banamine. We walked him, and he finally started to graze again, and then he passed manure, so I started to feel better. It was probably 5 hours at the end of the day until he started to eat hay again. He started to feel normal. So I stayed here long after end of day and kept tabs on him until I felt I could leave him for the night. And then obviously the barn owner checked in on him during the night, and he has recovered fine and well, which is great. So that was on Tuesday, but Tuesday morning was also eventful. She doesn't know how she feels about the camera. Anyway, so Tuesday morning I went to lunch her as I have been doing, and she seemed off, and she's been super sound up until this point this year, and she had a previous injury and went to a different farm to fully rehab for that. But she's recovered fully from that and has been super sound. So obviously seeing her take bunny steps up front where her injury was, I was super worried that somehow she had re-injured the injury. Luckily, I called Allie, her owner, and my trainer right away, and I had her come look at her. So we changed her shoes last week, and Allie's thoughts were kind of that she didn't like the new shoes. She has very sensitive feet. So we were like, okay, we'll call the farrier today and we'll have her shoes changed back. So since then, Flower has had her shoes changed back to bar shoes up front, and she seems to be 100% sound and totally happy with that. Thank goodness. even though we were pretty confident that Flower was just bothered by the shoes, leaving Tuesday, she was still unsound, and I had chili colic that night. So very stressful day. Didn't sleep that night, and at this point, we weren't sure that the shoes were the whole problem. So Wednesday was a really busy day here. Farrier came. He fixed Flower's shoes and said, see how she looks on Friday. So Friday rolls around and I had the vet coming at 8:30 in the morning. I didn't really get to catch any of these things as they were happening because the days were just insane and stressful. But Friday morning we had the vet come and look at Chipper. Chipper is one of our pasture boarders. He's right here, waiting for me to feed him. Hi, Chip. Buddy. So Chipper here had been lame at the trot, right front. There was no swelling or heat. He didn't seem bothered by it, and gave him a little time off, and there was no improvement. So the vet came to do a lameness evaluation, and I got on him, and we started with nerve blocking from the heel up. The first block was the right front heel, and there was no change. So then the second nerve block was a little more up some of his pastern area and his toe, and he went from 3 out of 5 lame to sound. So he wanted to x-ray to figure out what else was going on, because in previous horses I've had that have had more soft tissue injuries, the nerve blocks change a little more slightly and not so drastically from lame to sound. So I guess he was just a little concerned. So we did x-rays, which I assisted with. So there was no fracture. There was kind of some inconclusive inflammation in the pastern area, and very mild changes to the ring bone, but he didn't want to pinpoint it on the ring bone. So, I mean, it stinks when it's kind of inconclusive, but the vet recommended letting him rest for a couple more weeks and starting bute twice a day for 10 days and then once a day for 10 days after that. And he also recommended doing sweating the pastern area. So he gave us the Furazide mixture. It has something else mixed in, and I'll have to look up what that is. And to apply to his pastern area, cover in saran wrap for 12 hours a day and sweat. So that's what we're in the process of doing. Right, buddy? And hopefully, so I'm gonna do that now, and hopefully Chip will start to feel better. Keep you guys posted on that. So the icing on the cake of my very eventful, scary week was this mare, one of our boarders' horses. So this is Star, and Star is already like a very ulcer, colic prone thoroughbred. And Friday afternoon, I noticed that she was laying down in the paddock, and I thought that was weird. It's not very like her to lay down in the paddock. But she got right back up and she started eating hay again, so I was like, okay, I won't panic yet. But the weather was really weird. Hey. So anyways, long story short, since I feel like I keep going into great detail with all of this, is that she seemed a little ulcery from the weather changes, and like she had a little bit of stomach upset from it. She just was uncomfortable. I don't think she actually colicked, but I started walking her, grazing her. She didn't really want to eat, so I kept her on her feet, gave her Banamine, okay, per the owner, and we were able to walk it off and she was okay. But that was just, again, icing on the cake. It was a very eventful week here. Hey, buddy. So hopefully this next week goes smoother, and I hope you guys are all hanging in there with all of the crazy weather changes, and everyone's horses are staying healthy during colic season. Oh, and Prince has my hat. Hey, that's mine. If you leave anything out on the little grooming boxes, Prince will get it and he will kidnap it. Right? He says, I want that. I want that. Anyways, that's all for now. Until next time.